Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
And this is Martin.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's finally 2022.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to Happy New Year.
That's right.
Cheers, David. Welcome to In the Green Room, David.
Thank you. Cheers.
Why is Chet drinking out of plastic?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah,
We should probably pour that in a wine glass.
obviously 2021 was still a little bit of a year of turmoil and confusion. But compared to 2020, I thought it was a great year. Like, I thought 2020 was the one that was kind of, there was a lot more uncertainty in 2020 because it was back when we still didn't really know what COVID was at the beginning. Everything was shut down. But 2021, I feel like we kind of all did a decent job, like, coming together and getting through a pandemic and, going with the punches of the year. And, a lot of people have been like, oh, it was such a bad year. It's like, no, I feel like if you found a way to be optimistic and still stay active,
Exactly.
chase your passions, you still could have had a great year.
Focusing on your blessings.
At the end of every year, there's a certain percentage of people who said it was a sucky year, right? I mean, that's always
that's
going to
true.
happen. Whether you've got a worldwide pandemic or not, or, uncertainty, there's always uncertainty in the world. There's always the potential of war. There's always the potential of some asshole being an asshole to an asshole, right? I mean, that just happens in the world. And I like what you said earlier, Chet, about, I like to reflect on what the great things that happened in the last 2 years
That's
are.
what I want to talk
100%.
about. Why did we
100%.
start off with talking about something negative?
Well, what do you mean? It's not talking about something negative. It's
No, we're talking
addressing
about
the elephant in the room
Yeah.
that a lot of people have considered 2021 a really rough year because of COVID.
Well, it's
Are you like living in a different reality or
No,
something?
I'm just
Most
saying
people
it's
feel that way.
2022, and I want us to focus on that everything's going to be positive. We hope that the only thing
Okay,
negative in this
did you-
2022 would be our COVID test, right?
Yeah, did you not hear my whole point was that you could still have had a great year in 2021 if you had the right perspective and were
Absolutely.
still
I had a great year even in
active
2020.
and chasing your passions
mean,
and all that stuff.
Well, I think that was the point that we were both trying to make is that, 2020 had its challenges. 2019 had its challenges. 2018 had its challenges. I mean, all the years have their challenges. And so really it's about looking, if you're going to look to the past, look to what the positive things are and what you've learned. And if you're going to look toward the future, try to look toward the great things that are going to happen rather than being fearful of what could happen. Because a lot of things could happen.
But let's focus on
and-
what
and
has
also-
happened that's good and our blessings and abundance.
And one point that
David,
Martin
what do you
makes
think?
often is that you should only really be like trying to affect the things that you can control. And a lot of people's year this past 2 years have been affected by things that are out of their control. So it's a good like kind of thought task for them to go, wait, I should separate my happiness away from those things that I can't control. And
Such as what?
what do you mean you can't control like what the news is saying about the pandemic every
I don't
day?
even
So
watch
there's
the
a-
news
Yeah,
anymore.
but there's a lot of people
I think that's why I'm so happy. I don't watch the news. I realize that when you
What do you mean? You watch TV and watch the news some nights?
occasionally, I would say I
when-
put it on about once a month because I'm tired of it. It's negative and everything. It's all problems. So
Right.
about once a month I put it on. That's it.
Yeah, well, I think that's healthy because you're not biologically programmed to experience a bunch of doses of trauma every single night, and that's what the news
Just
is.
That's all it is.
Feed of
absolutely.
information.
100%. So that's just toxic for your mentality. So of course that's going to bring your spirit down. And I'm not saying you should go live under a rock either. You need to be informed, but you just have to like let your happiness be connected to the relationships in your life, your passions, your activity, and chasing those goals.
Right.
You can't let your happiness be tethered to, everything going to your expectations and staying in the status quo. Because like you were saying, things are always going to change. There's always going to be obstacles every year. There's going to be something in 2022
And it's how you
that's gonna
adapt to it.
challenge you.
Well, it's how you
Yeah.
adapt to it. And also, I think a lot of people out there, a lot of their challenges are is they watch the news. And, I watch the news occasionally, but it doesn't affect me like it used to. It used to make me angry. It used to get me going. Now I just use it as a data point, to a reference point. So if I'm having conversations about someone who might have been traumatized by what they heard, I have a frame of reference. But the idea is that what's in the news may or may not be true. And how much does it really affect your day-to-day life, right? It's like, the spending bill in the Congress, or this catastrophe, this scandal, and people get so up in arms and they just got to be in all that business, but it doesn't really have an effect on them day to day, other than the fact that they allow it to. Like, it doesn't pay for their groceries. It doesn't, get their kids to school. And so it's when they consume data like that and then get distracted by it, I think that's when it becomes an issue. But if you can look at that and there's always opportunities in chaos. And so if I'm looking at the chaos to see what the opportunities are, not to lament about, oh, poor so-and-so, poor so-and-so, although that does happen. But it's, then I also know, well, that's their karma, and that's what they deserve. And so, they get to experience that in their life. But that it doesn't have actually anything to do with my life. And I think that's the issue that I think a lot of people make, is that they bring all that into themselves, and then they experience it as if it's happening to them.
Yeah, well, and it should be something that you just information you absorb, but you're not letting affect your happiness. And
I think happiness is a choice, and I think we always say that protecting your joy. And I think
one thing, one quote that I saw that really puts in perspective how programmed we've gotten used to getting bad news. It's how rare it is to see good news. And that's one reason you should listen to In the Green Room, because we're a good news podcast.
That's right. We're saving the planet one show at a time, with heroes and miracles and positive news.
There's so much bad news out there. I saw this quote that was saying, it was a weird year when some of the best news is that a sex trafficker got sent to prison.
Right.
That was literally some of the best news we heard about this year, that Ghislaine Maxwell was sent to jail for her terrible, evil crimes against humanity.
How about this? Can we each go through and say, maybe 5 things that really happened to, Martin, what 5 things happened to you in 2020 or 2021 that you feel like it just made a difference in your life that for the good?
Boy, it's tough to nail down 5, but I think one that I'm really grateful for is I got to spend a lot of the last 2 years making music with the band.
Yay!
We have a place that we get to go to that's very private, and we can have plenty of room. So and everyone in the band is vaccinated and safe, and doing their best that they can. And I think that's definitely one thing that I'm very grateful for, is that I got that outlet during all this time.
So you spent a lot of time at the band. You spent a lot of time making music. That's one. Didn't you get engaged?
Got engaged.
That's
right?
That should be the happiest one.
Yeah. Well,
love.
It's for us, we kind of renew our vows, if you will, every day. I mean, we choose to be each other. We like to be with each other. We spent all day yesterday together, and we had a ball, just running around doing grocery shopping. We're always trying to make each other laugh or bust each other's balls or whatever. That's just this relationship that we have. And so this, getting married and and putting a ceremony to it and that kind of thing for us is just the same as going to the winery and having, going to a wine club party, or it's just something else that's going to be happening in our lives. So it's, for a lot of people, it's like the end all be all, but for us, it's just one of the many things blessings that we do have in our life.
Yeah.
But you're right,
so you're essentially already acting like a married couple. Like
Absolutely.
The wedding isn't going to change how you treat each other.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, and I like that mindset, because it's an addition to your life. It's not like the point of your life.
Right.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's a really good way to look at it too, because there's a lot of people where there's that stereotype where they're like, not super loyal or not a great person in the relationship until they get married or whatever. It's like, that's not how it should be. You should be putting in 100% effort from the beginning, and not be like, you're not getting this 100%, so you wife it up. That's not how it should be.
Well, I absolutely agree with that, because really, it's the bond that you share in your heart and your soul, and nobody, a piece of paper shouldn't force you to be together.
Absolutely. One of my favorite mentors, her name was Elaine Stein. She passed away several years ago. She was the head of the Screen Actors Guild here in Arizona. Just an amazing woman, probably in her 70s or 80s. Still got on stage and performed. I took many of her classes and got to be really close with her. And I remember being out to lunch with her one day, and she said, "Martin, I was married for 40 years. It's the best 15 years of my life." And then she proceeded to give me advice. She's like, when you get married, she said, get a marriage contract that's renewable every 5 years. So every 5 years you decide to renew that contract and get back together. And either one of you can, null and void it, but then you agree to all of the things like, who gets the pet, who gets the house, who gets the fine china, You agree to all that when you like each other.
Like a prenup almost?
Almost like a prenup, but it's
we
this
want
thing
no
that,
prenup. What's that song?
But
that's a Kanye West song.
yes. But it's this idea of every 5 years you choose, say, I'm going to spend the next 5 years with you. But then you've got to put it in because, you can't just slack for 4 years and the last year go, I guess I want to keep her. I gotta put in some effort, right? And it's an everyday thing.
Well, it's funny. I feel like everybody is different on how they feel on this prenup thing because to me, if somebody said to me, "Oh, I want you to sign on the dotted line for this prenup," I'd say, "You know what? You really don't love me. You're saying we're gonna fail. We might fail."
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Because it's like, what's the statistic? Like 50% of marriages end in divorce or whatever.
Yeah, and the rest of them are miserable.
Yeah.
No. Totally kidding. Just kidding.
But
I think he's having doubts. I think he's having doubts.
Well, I was one of the sisters.
You better hide this show from
I've been divorced,
Sherry.
right? I got married to someone who I thought was the the end all be all, and I was wrong. And that's okay. And it doesn't mean that, this relationship that I have now is, perfect 100% of the time. It's not.
Yeah.
But it's a relationship that I choose to work on.
Yeah, one, it's like if you only have successes, you're not going to learn anything.
100%.
That's so true. And I feel like if you can, your significant other should make you be a better person.
Yes.
I
vice
feel like
versa.
that. I think, yes, both of you should be, stepping up to the next level. I mean, to make that relationship better.
Well,
Chad, how do you feel about this? I mean, you're young.
I agree
whippersnapper.
that you have to always be working at it. That's a great point.
Well, I think a lot of relationships are codependent, right? That the person got into the relationship because they were lacking something in themselves and they felt like this other person could fulfill that, right? And I think that happens a lot. Especially
you have to be happy yourself.
Right, you have to be happy yourself. And
Yes.
I think also it happens a lot in younger marriages, marriages that are, that's the only person they've been with, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those work out, and those people are together for 50 years.
Oh, speaking of which,
half of
the
them-
wine we're drinking right now is from
yes.
Julie Brassfield,
Yes.
one of my best friends,
Yes.
and her
And it's
husband's family has
delicious.
wineries, and this was a gift for Christmas.
Yes, this is a Pinot Noir
Very buttery.
from the Cardella Winery. It's a 2011, and Pinots don't usually last 10 years. So 10 years for a Pinot is probably either right at the peak or at the end. But this has got no orange, so there's no oxidation. So it's been
coat the glass like at all.
no, it's and it's just this is just
Isn't it?
lovely.
Wow, and the
Yeah.
nose,
Yes.
it's so delicious.
Yes.
I taste a little cherry and a little chocolate and a little berry. What do you taste,
Yeah.
David?
I definitely smell. I definitely get the chocolate more on the nose, the berries. But this is a classic Pinot.
I
This
would
is
probably
not-
taste wine.
I don't have a very developed palate.
Well, could
so-
somebody read the back of it?
That's okay.
The description, that would be nice. So thank you very much, Julie. I love you so much. Thank you also for helping me paint my house. When my HOA said I had 10 days to paint my house, you're literally a best friend. That is so wonderful.
So
Yes.
this wine, it's a limited edition. It's in California. It's hand harvested, and there's only 4,600 bottles produced. So
Oh,
it's a
limited production.
run. And
Wow.
a 2011 Pinot. This is probably one of the last bottles around, which is pretty cool. It's in Mendocino, Mendota, California. Don't know where that is, but that sounds like pretty fun. And
Maybe David can look it up later.
Yes, but anyway, it's
He's our new trivia guy.
and Hungarian oak barrels.
What?
Ooh,
Wait,
how
it says
fun.
that?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, French and Hungarian oak barrels.
It says that? I'm
Yeah,
Hungarian.
yes.
Bese
Hungary-
Maduro.
Hungary and some of the Yugoslavia, they have some pretty
Cheers.
amazing wines. Cheers.
If you ever want to get her excited, all you have to do is just say something Hungarian.
Really? Kaboom.
No way.
American,
My
Hungarian, or
parents
Polish?
are Hungarian.
Well, I'm American #1, but I would say Hungarian and Polish #2.
Yeah.
So, yes. And we are going to be doing a show very soon with my Hungarian grandmother
Oh my.
that is turning 105
Oh, wow.
on January 25th. So we're going to have her call in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put the phone on the mic, David. Will that work?
I could probably even just hook it up into the mixer so you can just have the phone.
Yay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, great.
Yeah, we did my song that one time. Yeah, we can do that same thing.
And she's going to give us tips on how she's 105. I mean, for 2022, wouldn't that be great?
She's 105 years old. That's
on January 25th. She's been calling herself 105 all year.
Right.
But the truth of it, she doesn't turn 105 until...
When you're that old, it's like, what does it matter?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a number.
And her tips are going to be great tips because she is not hunched over. Her posture's better than all of ours in this room. Look at her, we're all slunched over. She's always been like this, straight up. She doesn't walk with a cane. She lives alone. And the only thing she has, which I want too, as soon as she has somebody cute that comes and helps her take a shower.
Oh, nice. That lady's living.
You were at 3, right? How many were you at?
Yes, thank you. Oh, David, I love you. That's your job to keep us on track.
Oh, that's right.
So, okay.
Yes, because we got way off track. Didn't we?
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
David, we love you. Okay,
all right.
so
okay.
number 3.
So 3.
And
Boy,
let's
so many
recap.
things.
We're talking about the 5
Just
favorites.
good things that happened.
Good things that happened in those last 2 years.
So, married,
Engaged. Not married yet.
Not yet.
I got to travel quite a bit, even though it was 2021. We went to California a couple times.
Nice.
And, I spent a lot of time with friends.
What about all the great shows of In the Green Room?
Of course. That just goes without saying.
Yeah.
That's a
Just had to insert yourself into the 5.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. I mean, we've met some amazing people on this show over the last year. I mean, we had... all right, so we've had Sam Pillsbury, who was a lot of fun.
We
Barry
love
Goldwater
Sam Pillsbury.
Jr. was a whole lot of fun.
So much
fun. Who was
fun.
the guy that wrote the book? Oh, I can't remember his name. I apologize, but he had he's the crime
Mike
reporter.
Watkins.
Mike Watkins.
Watkins.
We read, Sharon and I both
such a
read
good
his
one.
book. It was so interesting.
So he was on the show called Current Affair for like 20 years.
He was a in-your-face reporter here in Arizona, or
in
he
Hollywood
did 3 on
before
Your
that.
Side.
Investigative journalist. He covered like OJ when the murder happened.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Very nice. So
Michael Jackson when he did the
Jeffrey
Deadly
Sky.
There was a couple serial killers here that he tracked down. Come
here with your kitty.
Yeah. But yeah, he was super interesting.
So good. And I just ran into him. He wants to come on the show again.
Oh, that'd be. I'd love
yes.
it. Yeah,
He's so great.
Enjoyable.
He's doing a lot of movies now.
And his daughter was.
So check out the show
hilarious.
with Mike Watkins. I don't know how it's titled, but if you pull up Mike Watkins,
Yes, it's actually him and his daughter, and
Yes.
they do a podcast as well. I believe,
Yes,
or like
a crime one.
or a crime series based on the book. So
Yeah, they
highly
go
recommend
over
that.
the cases that he covered and stuff. It's a really good listen. You should definitely check that out.
Absolutely.
We'll link that in this show.
And then we had
Yes.
Stuart Horesh, the billionaire, on the show in this last 6 months, and he. I don't think you were there for that one.
I don't think I was.
I think that was Paul, because you were busy. But he gave secrets on how to be a billionaire.
Oh, nice.
And,
I mean, his
Robert
secret
Kiyosaki.
was basically be Warren Buffett's second investor.
Right,
So,
right, yeah.
It was kind of a
kind of a bust.
I was kind of like, okay. I mean, I don't understand if that's relevant to us, but
it is relevant to us because he talked about all the ways he's making a difference in the world,
yeah,
which
yeah.
he's made a huge impact.
Oh yeah, I was being a little bit
Facetious.
More skeptical.
So we did have Robert Kiyosaki on the show, and if people, which you just mentioned, and you had gone to a seminar before, and he's written over 12 books.
Yep.
David, do you know who he is?
I've not heard the name now.
Well, it makes me feel good because on New Year's, he wished me a Happy New Year.
Oh, nice.
And he said he wants to come back to the show.
Nice.
course.
And
Yeah,
I
I've seen him.
screenshot
He's been definitely on the circuit on different shows talking about his view of the world. It's been very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, he's pretty big. He wrote that famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It taught people about finances and how to, capitalism and.
Yep.
Well, one thing we talked about on that show that is coming true so quick is how bad inflation is. And we're seeing it right now with the gas prices, lumber prices.
Everything. We're
Everything.
in one of the
$50 for a tank
companies
now.
that I consult with. We buy steel drums, and last year they were $40. This year they're $75.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big difference.
That is a big
one,
difference.
One stat that I saw that was like an interesting thing too is it was like minimum wage in I think 1960 was $1.40, but the average hamburger cost was like 8 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Now minimum wage is $7.65, and the average hamburger is like $5.50 or something.
Well,
so
I mean, it's like you get paid. Well, even then in Arizona, like I think
You still got the
minimum wage-
99-cent menu at McDonald's and Wendy's.
yeah.
but the McDouble is not on it anymore. Now the McDouble's $2.85.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
you
cheers.
shouldn't eat that garbage anymore.
Cheers. We have to do
Sure,
another
say.
2022.
2022.
2022. I can't say it.
The year of the high
2022. So this is going to be the best year ever. We have to keep saying that because I believe, like we've talked about on many shows, that the energy you put out comes back to you.
Yeah.
And I think that if you start surrounding yourself with somebody that's a little bit negative, that negative energy comes to you.
Absolutely.
And so-
we are energetic beings. So if
Yes.
you surround yourself with positive people,
Yes.
you surround yourself with positivity, you watch positive movies, magically you're going to have more of a positive life. If
Exactly.
you're watching a bunch of dark movies and you're hanging a bunch of dark people and all you do is sit around and complain, I bet you're pretty miserable. And that's
I
just
love
really how it
horror
works.
I think it's so true.
That's different. Horror and being scared. What I'm talking about is those deeply, darkly depressing movies that are. They're
I
not
love those
horror.
too,
They're. But
Well, I'm going to ask
They're
David
a way-
this.
but they're
Why
a
do you
way
like
of-
those movies?
It's cathartic in a way. It's like exposure therapy in a way, I guess.
Okay.
I don't really have a specific reason. Not that they're like I prefer those more than any other.
Because I know a
movie.
lot of
Right.
people that
Yeah.
love those movies,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't.
What genre are we talking about?
Horror
Just
movies.
Depressing.
No,
I know a
like
lot of
those-
people that love horror movies.
Yeah,
It's
well,
normal.
not even horror.
Well,
but just like,
his cousin, his wife is a famous horror movie actress.
wow.
Yeah. Should we say her name or no? No.
Well,
Elvira.
I'm with you 100% that for some people, no, I don't think it's everybody.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
for some
it's-
people, if you use that as a cathartic experience, if you're using it as a way to relate and then help you process your own
Well,
emotions, that's
it's an
one
escape.
thing.
It's an
Yeah,
escape.
Right?
yeah.
It's
But
kind
if
of
you're
like,
just watching, conspiracy theory movies
Yeah,
to
yeah.
become more depressed and more paranoid and da-da-da, right? So it's using those movies as therapy and as a tool versus using those movies as a crutch or as a reason to be more depressed.
And it's like the intent of the creator as
yes.
well. Yeah.
well, it's kind
Yeah,
of like,
there's some people that just enjoy that as an art form.
Yeah,
where it's not even
And
about
again,
therapy. It's
that's
just like,
it's
I love
different.
this.
Yeah, I think I spoke in a generality, but what you're talking about, I think,
well,
is
like
very
Alice and
different.
Cheryl Cooper when they go on tour
Oh,
and they
yeah,
have
Alice
this
is
big
a perfect
stage.
example.
I mean, it's they're, they dress up and there's all
Right.
this
Theater, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, Alice is like the most famous like shock rocker of all time.
Yes.
They have like skulls on stage and blood everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
But
Him and Ozzy, man, they were like neck
Ozzy,
and neck.
Yeah.
but it's all an
Fela
escape
Kuti,
for their fans
yeah.
to go
Right.
and enjoy that.
Yeah.
And it's not how they are.
performance, yeah.
And if
in real
they're
life.
Yeah, I mean,
joyful about it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Did Alice Cooper ever rip a head off of a bat?
No,
though?
that was Ozzy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ozzy might have
no.
had the neck up on him, literally.
Oh, well,
Literally,
I've met
I
Ozzy
think
Osbourne.
it's pretty well known. I mean, Ozzy's crazy drug user. Alice is like this super nice guy who plays.
Yeah.
Ask
a
your
bad
dad
guy,
about
you know what
Ozzy
I mean?
Osbourne. He tried to buy a lot from us in Sedona years ago. but there were some CC&Rs. Ozzy Osbourne tried to buy a lot
I didn't
from
know
us
you
in
did
Sedona.
impressions.
And he does. He's good at it. He's funny.
Yeah.
And Ozzy wanted to have all these like skulls and crosses and all these weird things on the lot, and so we declined that because we had CC&Rs for the property. It was like 2-acre lots in Sedona, and so he didn't buy it because he said if he couldn't put it.
If
in.
I
wanted to
can't
put a-
have skulls, I'm not buying it.
It's true, but it was cool meeting him. He was super cool. Ask your dad about that. Okay, so back to your. Okay, so you got engaged. You did amazing shows within the green room. That was 4, I thought. I think you're at 4.
All right,
I mean, we
all
don't have
right.
to put a number on it. Just
That's
whatever
true.
comes to mind.
That's
Yeah.
true, David.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
true. Okay,
Well-
Chet, you could go next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get me
see.
to last. Best for last.
I would say probably, well, first and foremost would be my motto now that I just take no days off when it comes to
Oh, I
exercise.
love that. And you are strict about it. He is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm realistic. Like, yesterday I was recovering because I went to Decadence Music Festival, and
I built the stage for that.
Oh, really?
Did you really?
No
You
way.
did?
That's awesome.
I loaded
That was
the
an
truck.
awesome stage. So
I loaded the truck. I wasn't out there. And then I think.
But you also did the Cardinals.
Yeah.
game.
Well, and then tomorrow I'm bringing all the stage and the deck back, and I have to clean it.
Nice.
From Decadence. Okay.
That's a heck of a job.
So we're very excited and thankful to have David as our audio engineer because he's amazing. And now
Yes.
he's like
Makes a
part of the
big
show.
difference.
It's so great.
Oh, yeah.
So Chet?
No, but yeah. So I'm realistic that when I'm taking a day, I can take a day off, but that means I'm gonna make up for it and work out 2 times, and then have 2 different studio sessions, and I'll always make that time back up. So no days off. Like I'm extremely strict about it. So if I ever do take a day off, I make that time back up. So.
I can lure him with like an amazing steak dinner and a movie, and he'll say, "I didn't work out yet, and I didn't work out yesterday, so no, I can't. But maybe tomorrow." It's cute.
Yeah,
he's really
So I'm
adamant.
strict about that because it's just so easy to get stuck in a rut of bad habits. So if I ever do need to take one day off, I never let that turn into a habit, and then I work out twice the next day. So,
okay, no days off. If you can skip a day, but then 2 workouts.
So that's been really good for you. You feel great. That's been a good discipline.
Yeah, exactly, and it's been kind of related to every aspect of life. We talked a little bit about this last show, because I take no days off when it comes to music production. Take no days off with exercise. I take
learning.
Yeah. All that kind of falls under music production.
What about your love life? People are all wondering. People are asking me now that you're single.
Inquiring minds
want to know.
That's not really something.
In fact, okay, I'm going to give a shout out.
That's not necessarily something I'm focused on.
I'm giving a shout out to Laura Morano. She's an actress. Most people know who she is if I mention her. She's an actress. She's a musician. On Instagram, she's got over 9 million followers, and she only is following a few people, and she's following in the green room.
All right.
I know, and she's listening to our shows.
Nice. And she's interested in Chet's love life?
Well, I don't think so.
When I met
I don't know where this is coming from.
Well, when I met her, I showed her. I told her about it in the green room. I told her I was so fascinated by it. All these people were asking for an autograph. Okay.
Well, if you knew me, you know I hate being set up. So you did the exact opposite thing
Well,
of what you should have done.
I wasn't setting
if
you up.
actually
You're just recently
had
single.
any kind of
But I used you as a lure for her to like in the green room.
That's okay.
You just bait.
I asked her she
I'll
had
be
a
chum.
He's just
chum.
bait.
That's right.
All right, go ahead.
Nudge in the water.
She was at a local place that I don't want to divulge because I go there a lot, but she was there, and all these people were asking to take pictures with her. They were all asking for autographs, and I had no idea who she was. And so when she got a moment of silence, and she was walking to the ladies' room, I happened to go to the ladies' room too.
Nice.
And then I just started talking to her as we were washing her. It's like where the sinks are like unisex for both bathrooms. And I just started talking to her, and I told her about the show, and I said, I saw everybody getting your autograph. I don't know what you do. And she said, music, film, movies, shows. And so and then I told her about the show, and she got all excited. She goes, "Oh, it's about saving the planet." She goes, "I'm all in." And then she friended us on in the room. Then we went back and sat down, and I bought her a drink, and we talked for we hung out, and then we hung out the next day.
Well, we'll have to have her on and talk about.
Oh, she said she'll come on.
Well, there you go.
And I told
I don't even know
That
how we
comment
got
was
onto
so
this.
worth
Like,
his expression. I don't know.
How did we even get onto this? I don't even know what's
so
happening.
everybody look up Laura Morano. We'll tag her in this.
All right, well, Chet, rest of
Sorry,
your,
Chet. I was just
okay.
riffing off your
I
mom.
would
man.
say
I blame her.
all those songs that I started and finished, and some of them aren't quite finished, but that's because
Why not? Why are they? Let's challenge you right now on the
because
show.
I like really
Oh, well,
some
now
of my
I'm scared.
songs are all about like trying to make them perfect. Some of my tracks I've been working on for 14 months, but that's why they
Wow.
sound so unique, because I do all my own sound design. So that's a really intricate process to get it exactly how I want it. But I'm really excited because now I have a lot of original music that's ready to be played out and tour with it. So that's what I want to do.
Well, you need to collab with
Get
David.
songs on the
Your
right,
audio engineer
get
right
songs
here.
on the right labels.
He'll travel. He'll do the tour with
I
you.
want to get some residencies, but that's all possible because of the songs that I've finished.
But you have to have a deadline for
That
this.
you-
What's your
you-
deadline? What's your goal for this?
Well, I set up the goal that I want to do at least one self-release, or not self-release, but Deep Chetty release a month, and then one collab release with my sister Rachel as Burn Notice per month. So basically, like 2 releases per month.
Burn Notice.
That's our collab name. Yeah.
How cute.
Nice.
But so I'm really excited just for what the
So when
future
are we going to
holds
do the
because
show
of
with the
that.
two of you to talk about this big new release you guys?
How about last week of January?
Okay.
That would make
Okay.
sense.
All right. That's it. That gives you a goal. Everyone, stay
Stay
tuned for the last week in
The
January.
exclusive release.
Okay, and your last 2, you did 3.
No
days
like
off.
I was saying, I don't think like having a number to it's that important, really. Oh, I would say just the fact that I had my eyes open to that I really want to start pursuing a career in stand-up comedy and going to open mics.
Nice.
I am really bummed that I didn't hold my feet to the fire and start going to open mics yet. But part of the reason, though, is because I haven't been able to find like good quality open mics yet.
Yeah.
Because
Okay, so I have a recommendation for you.
Why don't you just be funny on here and then we can put
Yeah,
so
yeah.
have
yeah.
you-
Start right here.
stand-up is a very specific
Yes,
art
it
form.
is.
You
It
have
is.
there's the only way to get good at stand-up is by doing
practice.
stand-up.
But show us the
And
funny here.
And so
I want to be a stand-up.
that's
different.
right. That's different.
Yeah.
How is
You
it
can't
different?
deliver jokes that are supposed to be delivered to a room full of people,
In
and a lot of
full
my
of people,
jokes are
yeah.
kind of like a rant style. So I
Right.
need a
Yeah,
crowd
yeah.
to even start getting. The
But there's
energy
people that
going.
like have a list of jokes and that's funny.
Some of
or
my
there's people
jo-
that are just funny, and you
Yeah.
are really funny. Just
Yes,
show
but
me
there's
the
still
funny.
it's an art form just like everything. And I'm gonna put a little shout out to a gentleman by the name of Tony Visick, and he does comedyschools.com. He does stand-up comedy classes in Tempe. And I've taken his classes. I've worked with a lot of the comedians that have gone through his classes, and he provides a very safe space to work on your material along with other actors and comedians. And then he also helps provide venues, and he's he knows the folks that are around town. But if I could recommend anything, it would be at minimum go to one. I think the first class is free kind of thing. But he's extremely funny, and he's able to teach stand-up comedy to a variety of people who have a lot of different styles. But
But I don't think it needs to be taught. You are funny.
Well,
You
yeah.
don't need
So
that.
I have probably about 15 to 20 minutes of jokes written,
Right.
and so it's all. I just want to get on stage and start practicing my
Why
timing.
don't you just open up a comedy club, music club?
You have to get good at something and
Yeah.
like have success with it before you just open it up. That's how that works.
Oh,
But,
you don't think you're good? I think you're good at it
I would-
already.
Yeah, there's
I
the
have to-
inherent like skill, but it's just like building that practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there are people that literally do well their first time. One of my,
Ah.
probably my number one favorite live podcast is Kill Tony. Tony Hinchcliffe, one of my favorite stand-up comedians, is the host of it. And the concept of the show is that he has up-and-coming stand-up comedians come on, and you put your name in a bucket, and if he pulls your name, you get to go on stage for 1 minute. So when he came,
geez,
his
1
show,
minute.
yeah. So his show, his show came to town. It was back in March, and I put my name in the bucket twice. I didn't get pulled though, because
But you tried.
yeah, but it's the best like open mic scenario you can do because if you do well, he books you for other shows, and he does shows with Joe Rogan, Ron White, like some of the biggest comedians
Right.
in the world. So if you get on his radar, it literally boosts your career like that. Like there's people that have done their first set on his show that are like big stand-up comedians now.
But why don't
because
we just do like we can get some funny people on here? Why don't we just do a really comedy show and then we can
you
just
don't?
post
you're-
that?
I guess you just don't comprehend. Stand-up's a different thing than
I've
being
been a
funny on
stand-up.
the podcast. I agree that I'm funny on the podcast, but it's different from the jokes
Yeah,
that I've
stand-up
written.
comedy is a
My-
different
format.
Yeah.
beast. It's a different
Yeah.
animal.
and I have a very dark joke writing style. It's not anything you'd want attached to the show.
No, it's fine. We can do a rated R.
Trust me.
was it like
Rated R,
was
so-
it Anthony Jesler,
Yeah.
that kind of style?
Like
Like
kind of
dark?
like Tosh, a little bit more
Okay.
like Tosh,
I
like
love Tosh.
playful
Tosh is
dark.
Okay,
funny.
good.
But
Yeah.
like the concepts that I write about
I went to
are
Dave
really,
Chappelle with
really
you.
dark.
Don't you
Yeah.
forget that?
Yeah, well, he's the goat, obviously.
Well, yeah, he's
He's
the
so
goat.
great. He's the
but,
goat. Okay,
main
so what's your fifth?
inspiration-
What's your fifth? And then we have to get to David and me.
I don't know. I'd say that kind of sums it up for me.
Okay.
Just chasing those passions.
Okay.
Exercise, music, comedy,
And what about love?
reading. I don't know. I love all my friends and I love myself, and I know I'm gonna fall in love. So that's gonna
I
happen.
feel like that's
so.
all you need.
Okay, that's all you need. All right, David. Love.
Yeah, I've got a
Do you
ton
want to
of-
sing a quick song?
I've got
and
a
then we'll
ton
go
of
to
love
David?
in my life.
Okay, David,
So.
and then love, and then your song, and then me. Okay.
Uh,
David, tell us about your top 4 or 5.
yeah, I'll think of many as I can, but biggest thing for me, 2021, I graduated and I moved out. Those were like the top two.
Graduated from
Congrats, that's
community
awesome.
college, yeah.
from your audio engineering.
Yeah,
Okay.
Engineering, production, all that stuff.
Adulting hard,
Yeah,
as some would say.
Been a very big year for me because I got my first apartment. I moved in with my sister.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's mainly just been like figuring out how to be on your own mainly, and moving.
That independence is so nice,
Yeah,
though. It's
no.
so nice.
Well, even just like moving out of my dad's house, I feel like I've seen and got to know my dad a little bit more, even just moving out than I did living with him. Because he wasn't really he wasn't not a part of my life, but I only saw him a couple times out of the year. And then when I moved here in like 2018, 2019, I moved in with him. And
I love the way you said that, because sometimes when you live with somebody, it can, sometimes things can be annoying.
Exactly. Well, and then when I was living with him too, I was just in my room most of the time, where I was doing something on my computer or doing this or that. I was living in the space. But when I'm like visiting him, I'm there for the express purpose of like, oh, I haven't seen you in like a couple days,
And just having joy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just I've gotten a little bit closer with my family this year.
Oh.
Let's see.
I know you have a big family.
Yeah, I have a huge family. But the biggest thing for me this year has been not getting too bogged down in productivity, because especially when we live in like a society that judges you based on how much you produce or consume, vice versa, or how much consumable content you produce, it's kind of not radical, but it's it's kind of like a defiant thing to just like spend the weekend by yourself and just like be in the moment kind of thing, presence.
Yeah, we should value enjoying the moment even more than we value productivity.
Well, yeah,
Productivity is important, but
Yeah,
enjoying the moment at the end of the day is even more vital.
Yeah, because like we were talking about like the news cycle and like social media and stuff like that, and it's like Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff is designed to like, I mean, it works like drugs. It just gives you that little dopamine.
But I do disagree a little bit on that note, because I think some of the most successful people out there they're not happy unless they're producing.
Yes,
that's
a personality type.
So my friend Jerry, we don't need to say a last name.
Jerry
Everybody knows
Garcia.
who he is. Yes, exactly. He's always like, okay, every minute.
But
I'm
my
doing something.
Yeah, but that
is-
can also be because you're addicted to the rat race.
Right, and
No, but he
I
has joy. He has
wonder,
a lot of joy in
I
every day.
wonder if he really enjoys it.
He does.
I wonder.
He does.
Yeah.
He says.
It
I
depends.
gotta
I know he
produce.
says
I gotta
that.
produce. I gotta work. And when somebody's like worth over $1 billion, and they're like, oh, I gotta be working.
Yeah, but it's just because you glorify that. Like, he could still just be addicted to those rushes of, like, the rat race as much as a crackhead's addicted to hitting that crack pipe.
The way
Could be the same addiction.
Oh yeah, he said he wakes up in the morning and he thinks, how can I make more money?
Yeah.
That's all he cares
And
about.
if that's
Yeah, so
if
that's
that's what he
greed.
cares
That's
about,
greed.
and
He
if
says
that's
that.
what he loves,
He
then
loves
that's
that.
fine. That's good for him. But
He
that
loves
doesn't
that.
work for everybody.
So when I pray for all the people in my life, like my family, my friends, my kids, my the show, you're my friend. When I pray for everybody and I go to everybody individually, with him I say health, and then next I say wealth, because I know that makes him happy.
Because yes, we want the billionaire to become much more rich.
So what is your last?
let's see, good things that happened this year.
Or what's your wish for this 2022?
For 2022, it's just literally the first thing I recorded my New Year's resolutions. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
Oh, that's good. You did that.
Literally just taking care of myself a little bit better, because I was so caught up in 2021 and just like, I got to pay rent every month. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do that. And then I was like, I'm not showering every day. I'm not brushing my teeth every day. It's like,
Because you were so busy.
Exactly. And even if I wasn't busy, it was just like I'm either constantly busy or trying to recover from being constantly busy by just vegging out on
Relaxing
the
a
couch
little
for
bit.
2 hours. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And just putting that self-care a little bit more center. And
So that way you're not playing catch up with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then also
So no days off, like Chet says.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. And let's see. If I had to think other stuff this year. This year, music. I want to practice. Yeah, like same thing like Chet. Just practice more, because it's like there's that inherent skill that you're born with, where just something makes more sense to you, or your brain composition is built in a way where this specific activity is just more stimulating to you, or
like Michael Phelps in a pool.
Yeah, exactly. Arizona goats.
He's flapping with his ears and shit.
Okay, so what am I thankful for? What am I grateful for?
Wait, I forgot one that I wanted to add.
Okay.
I made some amazing friends this year.
That's so important.
Shout out to Brody and Munson. We had Brody on the podcast.
Oh, Brody was a blast.
Yes,
yeah,
Brody was so great.
Yes.
He's one of my best friends already, and I've only known him for like 7 months, 8 months.
Oh, the minute I met him, I loved him.
He's awesome.
Yes.
He's awesome.
Yes.
So, that's another thing I forgot to mention, but sometimes
So new friends, so Brody and Munson, and who else?
Yeah, and my Tyler. So I've made some really great friends.
It's amazing.
David. So
And so I want to say for
I'm
me,
sorry, King, we
met
were
some
out of
dope
time.
people.
No, I'm just kidding.
for me, the last 2 years have been some of the best years, and why? Because I didn't let the COVID stop the show.
Mm-hmm.
I still met a ton of people, even though people were kind of like quarantining. I don't know how. When you look at the last 2 years, we've had amazing people on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people said to me, "Are you going to take a break from the show? Are you going to stop the show? And sit in quarantine and put your mask on?" And I said no. And a lot of people were so strict about it, and they stayed home and they never left. And then their business